Welcome back to Steve Robb Reviews. As you can see in the background here, today I'm going to review a bed rug. This is the first time that I've actually tried one of these bed rugs. That's the manufacturer's name, Bedrug. And you know, this weighs at most maybe 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds. I'm going to take you off the tripod. I'm going to show you what this thing actually looks like before I install it. And I think this is just an awesome idea. It's something that I've never tried before. But in the past, on my pickup trucks, I always used just a black rubber mat. I'm going to tell you why I don't use that anymore and why I thought this was a better idea. And so let's take a good look at this, and I'll show you the reason why I actually bought it. Okay, so the back of my Silverado came from the factory with the spray-in bed liner. And I will tell you something. This is so super slippery. It is just like, and you put something in there and it's gone. So I decided to go with this product here, and the first thing you'll notice is it's actually cut out for the ribs that correspond to the bottom of your truck bed. The material is something that I would say would be akin to what you'd see in a boat. You know, that outdoor type of carpet thing. It's very light. I mean, there's the bottom side there. It's supposed to be impervious to pretty well any material like oils or, you know, you name it. So I've left it out here on the back of the tonneau cover just to kind of flatten out a bit. And you know, it's the texture on the top is not really, I would say, that slippery at all, but it's also not, you know, not grabby at all. So I mean, I think it's just like a perfect texture, and I think it'll suit my needs. I mean, it's not cheesy at all. I mean, it's nice and thick, and like I say, this is really super light compared to the rubber mats I've had that had to be, well, I would say at least 50 pounds, you know, and I think it's awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install it in the back there, and I'm going to show you what it looks like after it's installed, because this seems to be laser cut. When I'm looking at all the seams here going around, they've actually duplicated the exact form of the bed of the truck. So I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to install it. It's going to take me like 2 minutes, and then I'll bring you back and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so there we go right there. It didn't take me no time at all to install, and you know, I think this is a perfect design for me and my uses and how it's going to actually work out for me. But it is cut perfectly all the way around on the inside, and as you can see, it hasn't laid down perfectly flat yet, but there's a lot more to this than what you see right here that came in the box. And if you just take a look, I don't know if you can see right there, you can see like a double stitching line that goes along there, and there's actually one on this side as well, and there's a reason for that. I'll explain that in a minute. We'll go in the shop, but if you take a look how it actually matches the contour right here of the bed, and you know, this is so light I can take it out no problem. And when I'm going inside the back of the bed here, well, it's not hard on the knees either, right? So this will not be as slippery as before. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually show you how I have my accessories in the back of the bed that I travel with all the time, and I'll show you how I don't have to worry about, you know, this thing flying out or anything like that, because I won't be using this particular bed here for, you know, going down the highway with nothing in it. You know, you'd think that may be okay. I mean, it's going to fly out on you, right? Well, they've actually got a kit for that. I'll show you that in the shop, but I'll just show you how this will be for 99% of the time when I use the back of my truck, and let's get to that next. So here we go right here. This is exactly how I'll be using the truck all the time. I got my toolbox. I got a spot here for my fuel cans, and this little milk crate here, you know, just to put stuff in, you know, if you go to the store or something, right? And my impact driver, you know, in case I get a flat tire. But besides that, this bed rug, I think, is just ideal for me. So let's go back in the shop and I'll explain to you why I didn't put a rubber bed mat like I've done for the last 40 years. Okay, so first of all, yeah, I got to show you how this thing was shipped. It comes in this huge box, all together, 5 pounds tops, and I think the shipping was pretty good. And that's what it comes in. And then we'll come over here and we'll take a look at what came inside as an accessory. Okay, so this came in the accessory bag, and this is this hook and loop. I think it would be more or less called just you know, like Velcro from 3M. It's got some packets here so that you can take all the grease out of the bed if you had any, and you can see where the stitching was inside on this particular this bed rug here. And then you would affix the self-sticking tapes, one for each side, and it corresponds to the bed, so you put it on the bed as well. And this way here, if you had an open bed, well, this here just wouldn't fly out of the back on the highway, right? So I think that's a good idea. And but I won't be using that, because as you can see, I leave my tonneau cover on 90% of the time. And if I do go down the highway without the tonneau cover on, well, I got something heavy in there all the time. This way here, it makes it much easier for me just to take in and out, and I really don't need this. So let's get to why I didn't use just the plain old rubber bed mat. Well, the main reason why I didn't go with the regular, you know, just a rubber bed mat in the back is I don't use this truck like I did in the past. Years ago when I had a rubber bed mat, I was going getting, you know, like loads of earth or gravel or picking up some stone, this kind of thing. Well, I don't use the back of my truck for that anymore. If I want to get that kind of stuff, I have a trailer for that. But for people who do that, well, I would say definitely I'd go with the, you know, the rubber bed mat. But there's another couple of things that I didn't like is I'd go to pick up some nice trim, you know, some long pieces of trim, whether it's pine or, you know, even PVC, and I'd slide them in the back and I'd take them out, and of course they got all these black marks over it, you know, because over time these bed mats, they'll get like kind of a chalky kind of, well, a porous texture where if you rub something against it, well, you're getting these black marks, and I really didn't care for that too much. And the other reason would be is, well, they're heavy, and you know, you got to pull that out and put it back in. It's not as easy as the bed mat. Now I will tell you, I paid $240 for that bed mat that weighs like what, 2 pounds, or bed rug, and you know, the bed mats were about $80 less. So I mean, there's a huge cost saving by going with just the rubber, and if the rubber is fine for you, then fine. But for me, I think this would be ideal for my use, and I do like to just take it out once a year and just hose down the back of the bed and just make sure it's all cleaned out. I can put it back in. Now the material, you know, if you get water or anything gets on top of that, it doesn't just sit on top like a rubber bed mat does. You know, the rubber, you know, bed mat will just sit there. Whatever fluid you have will just sit there. It will not be porous and go through. So for me, yeah, if you got a little bit of a leak on your tonneau cover or whatever, well, it's just going to drain down and then run out the front. And I think that's a good thing. And for a lot of people that, you know, are thinking about, should you go with a bed mat or, you know, or this bed rug product, there's a lot, I imagine there's more out there. I mean, all I did was search on the internet, and that's when I come across this company called Bedrug. And I looked at the product, I looked at their videos, I looked how durable the product was, and I thought, you know, that's something ideal for me. I just grab a hold of it, zoom. Like, I mean, it took me like next to nothing, you know, to put inside or take out. It's so easy. Now, when I first got it, it was wrapped up inside that, you know, that cardboard box. So I had to let it go out there and sit there in the sun. Like, I mean, it's not that hot today, but it flattened out in about a half an hour pretty good, so I could just throw in the back. So I thought you'd just like this little bit of review of my opinions between the the rubber and the bed rug material, and I think the bed rug suits my purposes fine. So thanks for joining me here today and watching this review. Come back again, and if you've never seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe. Cheers.